Likewise, thank you. Take care of my dude.
Geoff, first of all, congratulations on the victory. What are your initial thoughts after the performance against Santiago Ponzinibbio?
I'm proud of that performance. You know what I mean? I'm happy with it. You know, I did a lot of things. I showed a lot of things, and I really felt like I was I felt like I was at home. You know what I mean? It felt like it was a really easy fight for me. You know, and like, yeah, I didn't get the finish, but I felt like I was in control of the fight all 3 rounds, and I was never in any trouble. I didn't take really any damage. He kicked my leg hard a couple times, and that's about it.
You say you were at home. What do you mean exactly? Like at home inside the octagon?
Yeah, like it felt comfortable. You know what I mean? I didn't realize there was like thousands of fans. You know what I mean? All I thought that was there is me, him, and my coaches.
Outside of the leg kicks, did he hurt you at all?
No.
Or did he catch you by surprise with anything in there?
Nothing by surprise. Everything that we studied on, he did, and it was just like watching film. You know, nothing surprised me.
And moving forward, how many times you want to get back in there quickly in 2022? How many times are you going to look to fight next year?
I'm looking to get back in February, but we'll see. I'm talking to my coach about it. That's not for sure yet. But February in Houston is what I want. But me and my coach might want something else, so we'll see about that.
Geoff, here in the back, right over here. We were doing post-fight scrums while some of the fight was going on, but it seemed like the fight was stopped quite a few times during the bout. Can you just sort of explain a little bit what was happening? Because there seemed to be a lot of craziness going on that we couldn't hear the commentary for.
Just there was a few eye pokes, you know what I mean, like close eye pokes. You know, the ref stopped it when Ponzinibbio, he didn't poke me in my eye, but he got really close, and the ref tried to stop it, and I was like, no, I'm fine. I was just because I let Ponz know, I was like, watch your fingers, because the ref didn't see it, but when the ref saying he heard me say that, he said stop, and then I kicked him in the Ponz in the balls, and he stopped. But yeah.
And was it at all hard to sort of keep that intensity going? When you did have these sort of halts to action?
I mean, probably, you know what I mean. But I was just in the moment the whole time. I really didn't care about any of the little small bullcrap breaks, you know. Yeah. But that's what happened. I kicked him in the balls and then stopped. Yeah.
And as you mentioned in the press conference, you felt that striking wise, power wise, you know, you had the advantage in pretty much every area. Did that play out relative to your expectations in the fight itself?
Yeah, it did. And I just knew I had control of that fight the whole time. You know what I mean? The only way he was going to win is if I slipped up and he caught me with something I didn't see. But other than that, he wasn't faster than me. He wasn't stronger than me. He tried to get a takedown. I don't know if they counted that as a takedown. If they did, they probably shouldn't have, because I had the whizzer and I always do this waiting to whizzer out of it. But yeah, he had nothing for me that fight.
And next week, we've got Wonder Boy, former foe of yours, against Bilal Muhammad. How do you see that playing out?
I don't know. We'll just have to see. You know what I mean? I fought them both. So, you know what I mean? It's not my business to say anything. I'm just going to let that fight play out, and we'll see who wins.
You don't have a favorite, per se?
No favorite.
All right. Fair enough. Thank you.
Congrats on the win here. As the fight was as the scorecards were being read, what was your confidence level that you were going to come out ahead on that?
I was confident at first, but once I seen that they gave him a 29-28, I was like, "Am I about to get fucked right now?" But you know what I mean? I don't see it as a split. I really feel like I won 1 and 3 for sure. You know what I mean? The second round, if you count that takedown as anything, you could have gave it to him. But if we're talking about fighting, and you know what I mean, I'm looking at my opponent from across the cage. I know I'm winning, and he knows he's losing. So that's how I saw the fight going. Look at his face. He was losing. I was standing up the whole time. He was sitting down. He was taking deep breaths. He was losing that fight.
Between rounds, the cameras caught your coach here, very fired up, Mr. Swad.
Yeah.
Giving it to you, kind of.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about you guys' relationship and that moment really like spurring you on? Did that help you out?
He's been my coach for like what 6-7 years now. You know what I mean? And he just knows the right things to say to me. He knows how to get me fired up. You know, he knows when I'm just lollygagging, like, you know what I mean? I was in the cage just playing around, and he knew I was playing around. Like, he's like, you might lose this fight because they might give the split. So, you know what I mean? He knew that was possible, that was going to happen. So he told me to turn it up in the third round, and I did it.
I mean, coming into this fight, you've never been in this position before where you're on a losing streak. Was that difficult? And then in addition to everything else that kind of happened outside, it felt like coming into this fight, there was just a lot on your shoulders. Did you feel that?
Not today. I didn't think about none of that today. You know what I mean? I might have thought about that yesterday. I might have thought about that last week. I might have thought about all the other bullshit. But today, the only thing that was on my mind was winning the fight.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just to follow up on that, I think a lot of people going into a fight right here in Shape,
Right here, okay.
you know, that have a couple losses coming in, they might not be able to feel at home, feel at ease. What's happened in that time from that last loss to coming in now that mental wise that's made you be so confident and so at ease going into this fight this time?
I really can't tell you. You know what I mean? It might be just like, you know what I mean? Like I finally got to fight in front of fans again. Like I love that. Like that's what fighting in the UFC is to me. It's not fighting in the Apex. It's fighting in an arena with a whole bunch of fans around. You know what I mean? Like that nervous energy. Like for some reason, like the more nervous I am, the more comfortable I get when it's time to perform.
I know sometimes we hear from fighters, they say, I just need to get hit a couple times before I can kind of wake up. For you, it's that going into the crowd. Do you get more nervous from a fight like this when you have fans as opposed to say like an Apex show when nobody's in there?
The Apex, I get more nervous with the fans, but I like to be nervous. You know what I mean? I like that feeling is what gets me going. Like I don't want to go into the Apex fights. I was never nervous. It was just like dude, I guess I'm gonna walk in the cage and fight somebody. Like it was just boring. And this fight was exciting. I was looking forward to it all. I could barely sleep the whole week because I was just excited to be here. And I came here. I got the job done.
And I know to keep momentum going, you want to stay active. You got to get the reps. So looking for next year, you know, this year's done for the UFC stuff, but next year, I mean, how many fights are you looking at? I mean, are there goals that you're setting for yourself for next year?
At least three. Like that's a number goal. Like 3 fights, and I'll be happy with that. I've been averaging 2 fights for the past couple of years, and that's not enough. I need to get like at least 3 in a year.
Congrats on the victory.
Thank you. Good. Awesome.
All right, gang. The attendance tonight was 18,471. It was a sellout. 8 of 8 pay-per-view sellouts this year ever since we brought fans back. Fight of the night was Munoz and Cruz. Performance of the night is Silva, Tayavasa, Kai Kara, Pena, O'Malley, and Oliveira.
That's all.
Giving out some fucking money tonight.
Well, I guess that kind of indicates your thoughts on the fight card tonight as a whole, right? I mean, it looked good on paper.
I mean, in every way that an event could be a home run and be successful, this was. It was an incredible night. The fights were amazing. Huge upsets. The first round of the main event. I mean, those two didn't feel each other out. They didn't anything. They came right out and just started going. The first round was incredibly fun. The whole fight was incredible, and it was an amazing night.
Yeah. Want to get your thoughts on Charles Oliveira as a champion, right? I mean, I guess if there was any question whether he was deserving, he answered it tonight. And especially, with the story that it's always been that he can't get tested. He doesn't have heart. And it seems like he answered any of that tonight.
Yeah, I never heard any of that stuff, but you got to stay off the fucking internet.
That's how I make my living, sir.
Yeah, I always thought he was a tough guy. He's had some bumps along the way. Same thing with Poirier. But like I said at the press conference the other day, they're two blue-collar, hard-working guys that have grinded their way to the top. Yeah, I mean, he went in tonight and beat Dustin, and Dustin is, a very, very tough, durable, well-rounded guy who has had a ton of experience, and it was a big night for Oliveira.
Have you had a chance to speak to Dustin at all yet, and have an idea of where he might go from here? Obviously, this is a tough break for him.
No, I mean, we talked after the fight, like up in the octagon for a second. I just saw him outside when I was walking out here, but there's nothing to talk about right now. He needs to go home, relax, enjoy some time with his family, enjoy the holidays. And, when he heals up and all the bullshit blows over, we'll figure out what's next for him. There's no rush. We don't have to decide anything tonight.
I know you don't normally like to say, who's the number one contender, but you said coming in like, hey, Justin Gaethje's definitely next. So as we sit here, Justin Gaethje definitely next.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I know it's kind of out of your hands, but Brazil as a possibility. I mean, obviously we know what's going on in the world, but do you have any indication if 2022, like it might be possible for Charles to defend his belt against Gaethje down there?
I have no idea what's possible in 2022. I don't give a shit. I could care less.
Nice.
Texas, Florida, Apex. Florida, Texas, Apex. Abu Dhabi, Florida, Texas, Apex.
Schedule
I
done.
don't give a shit if anything opens again. Whatever. I don't care. I'm not even thinking about it. I could care less.
All right. I did want to ask you about the co-main event. Obviously, a shocking result there. Julianna Pena, somebody that's been a thorn in your side to get her title shot. She delivered tonight. What did you think of her performance tonight?
Yeah, Julianna is a person who always believed in herself and believed that she could win this fight if she got it. And I mean, you heard it at the press conference. You heard it the months leading up to this fight. And she did it. She did it tonight. It's one of the great things about the sport. It's what makes the sport so incredible. When somebody's that big of an underdog and nobody, I mean, how many times have we been at these events where when the fight's over, everybody's looking at each other like, holy shit. I mean, it happens all the time here. It is literally what makes this sport so incredible.
There were a lot of questions coming in about Amanda, like how much longer she wants to keep doing this. Maybe it's her family life kind of the way she wants to go. Did you get a chance to speak to her and see if, she's considering it all, hanging it up, or if she wants to come back and get it?
Listen, it goes right along with all the storylines. She's been on top forever, regardless of what you think. She's made shitloads of money. She has a lot of money. And, she has a baby now, family. These things change you.
Yeah. If she wants a rematch, do you think she is deserving given how long she was on top?
Yes.
Nice. Last thing for me, I just want to ask you about Sean O'Malley, another fantastic performance. I mean, he's kind of laughing about being the unranked champ and all that. I imagine he's probably going to have a ranking now, but I know you said coming in, we're not sure if he's ready for the top guys yet. Did he show you tonight that he's ready for the top guys?
The guy he beat tonight is a real guy, a very real guy. He did it in spectacular fashion. You know, and I know, you know, when you talk to him, two things: he wants to get paid, and he wants to fight higher level competition. It's like we're gonna have to pay him, get him some fights. Yeah.
Dana in the middle over here. Just want to get your thoughts on Dominic Cruz's performance. You know, had a rough first round there, almost got knocked out, but came back and looked great. What'd you think?
Yeah, I agree. He won fight of the night tonight. Yeah, you know, Dominic Cruz still has it, man. It's impressive.
And earlier in the night, Aaron Blanchfield had a dominant win against Miranda Maverick. You know, young star in the making, it looks like. What'd you make of her performance?
Yeah, listen, anybody you ask me about on this card tonight, I'm going to – tonight's card was amazing. It was an incredible night of fights. You know, it was huge. Pay-per-view was huge. The gate was $8 million. The biggest non-Conor McGregor gate ever at T-Mobile.
And Kayla Harrison was in the crowd. Does Amanda Nunes losing, does that kind of change anything in terms of bringing her in?
Yeah, these are those things, man. For like a Kayla Harrison, the Amanda Nunes fight was huge. I mean, if they would have faced off, it would have been a massive, you know, mega $1 million fight. I know the dipshit there. What's his name? The dipshit that thinks he knows about this business. Darren Ravel, yeah. Dipshit Darren Ravel said that Amanda Nunes, you know, we were screwed. She could never be a star and all these other things. Let me tell you what, if Amanda Nunes had won tonight, the Kayla Harrison fight would be one of the biggest fights that you would have ever seen. You know? Stay out of our business, dipshit. You know nothing.
I just want to get a little update on somebody else in the bantamweight division, but Jermaine Durandamy was recently taken out of the rankings. She's still on the roster, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like it's my place to say why. We'll leave that up to her. Somebody can ask her why she's out of the rankings and what she's going to do.
All right, thanks, Dana.
It's not my place. It's hers. It's personal stuff. It's not professional.
Dana, just to ask you, Adesanya put a tweet out in response to UFC saying that the fight was on with Whitaker. He put a cap out, you know, meaning a lie. So
he said what?
He put a icon of a cap, you know, an avatar like a cap, meaning a lie. He said it was a lie.
It means you're lying in the millennial war.
Right. I had to ask somebody what it meant.
I'm confused.
Adesanya basically said the fight's not on. He's saying the fight is not on with Whitaker.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
Hey, Hunter, do we have a signed deal with Adesanya for Whitaker?
No,
no.
Hunter,
do we have a signed contract for him to fight Whitaker?
He signed a contract. Adesanya signed it because he said it was a lie tonight on Twitter. Yes.
Yes.
We have in writing that he is committed to fight.
Okay, so he put out that it was a lie. Okay.
Listen, you don't want to fight Whitaker. Okay, then I guess we'll find another fight.
Okay.
Who gives a shit?
I guess not you.
Who gives a shit? I definitely don't give a shit. You don't want the Whitaker fight to be on? Okay, then we'll find something else. Why would we lie? When have we ever fucking lied? This fight's coming up. We lied about it?
I didn't say you lied.
20 fucking years have we ever lied about, making a fight? Some fights are harder to make than others, but, I don't think we've ever lied about making a fight. Mm-hmm. And why would we lie about that fight?
Yeah, I didn't say you lied. He said you lied. I asked you about it.
Got it.
I just want to ask you also about Julianna. And when you watched the first round, if I would have told you at the, a couple minutes later after we froze that first round that Julianna was going to win that fight, would you have believed that?
Say that again?
At the end,
my head's still all fucked up from Adesanya.
I'm fucking you up all night tonight here. At the end of the first round, if I had said to you, Pena's going to win this fight, would you have believed it?
Well, yes. I mean, I think that anything is possible. I mean, we've seen it so many times. Anything is possible in this sport.
And what do you make of her, confidence and where did that come from? Because you look at it, she hadn't even won back-to-back fights in about 4 years, right? I mean, so where does that confidence come from in a person?
I had my kids in some jiu-jitsu tournament when they were little. And the first time that I ever met Julianna Pena, she walked up to me and introduced herself and told me who she was. And she said, I'm going to fight for you someday, and I'm going to be a world champion when I met her. So she's always been like that, you know, and yeah, she did it, man. She did it in spectacular fashion.
And what do you do with Cody Garbrandt now? He drops a flyweight, hoping to find some new life, and then he gets another brutal first-round knockout loss.
What do I think about it?
What do you do with Cody moving forward now?
I don't know. That's a good question. You know, you move down a weight class and get knocked out down a weight class. Yeah, it's a rough one.
And finally,
you know, and he's been clipped a few times now, and you start, you know.
And Kai was in here, said, I'm not going to fight again until it's for a title shot. He's calling for the winner of Brandon Moreno and Figueiredo.
Who said that?
Kai, the guy, Kai Car.
He's not fighting again until he gets a title shot?
That's what he says.
Okay.
Hey, Dana, right here. I want to touch back on Kayla Harrison. Notably, she was shouted out on the broadcast. You are talking very glowingly. When we spoke to her at MMA Awards, she said she's still a free agent. Would you say that might be changing soon?
That she's a free agent?
Yeah. Is the UFC, is the way you're talking and shouting her out, is the UFC making a more serious play to sign Kayla Harrison?
Yeah. I mean, I said it last week that we were talking, and then she said it this week that we were talking. We're talking.
I want to ask about the prelims with Julian Robertson. Priscilla Cachoeira it looked like she gouged her eye when she was trying to get out of the rear naked choke.
Ioli told me that. I didn't know. I didn't see it. Saw a picture, but I got it all from Ioli. I didn't see that.
So no decision will be made until you guys review that internally?
I haven't seen it yet. I don't know anything about it except for what Kevin told me.
Just want to touch on real quick. You're obviously going to Anaheim next month. The UFC does have the Crypto.com sponsorship, Staples Center, Los Angeles. I'm going to just say my city. You know, is the UFC planning to come to LA specifically soon?
I don't know. There's nothing in the works right now.
I hope so. Thank you.
Dana over here to your far.
Hey, hi.
Hey there. So this is the second year that the company has had to navigate through COVID restrictions around the world. Two questions. One, what went better for you this year in terms of kind of managing the restrictions around the world? And the second part of the question is, how much will Apex continue to play as part of the venue strategy going forward?
Yeah, I didn't hear the first one. What was the first question?
The first one was how much easier was it for the company to kind of navigate all of the COVID restrictions this year as opposed to the first year when it happened?
Oh, it was much easier. Obviously, there were many more places open, and including New York, that I thought would be impossible at one point. But yes, the Apex will still be used a lot as places open up that are fan friendly, fighter friendly, UFC friendly, however you want to call it. We'll do fight nights and pay-per-views there. And if not, we'll stay in the Apex. Like I said when I started this thing, we can do Texas, Florida, Abu Dhabi, and Vegas. I'm fine with that. We had an incredible year this year. It was amazing. We can do this forever if we have to.
Dana here in the back. So in the main event, during the broadcast, Joe Rogan mentioned it looked like for a moment that Charles Oliveira was digging his fingers into Dustin Poirier's gloves, and I was wondering if that was something that you were made aware of, and if so, what's your thought on it?
I don't know anything about that either.
If that were the case, would that sort of change the way you view the fight?
That he was digging his fingers in his gloves?
Yeah, that he was
something the ref would handle in there and take care of. Yeah. That's got nothing to do with me.
All right, fair enough. And as mentioned, huge upset in the co-main event. There have been some monumental upsets before. GSP Matt Serra, Ronda Rousey, Holly Holm. Where do you rank Pena versus Nunes in terms of all-time upsets?
It's a big rematch if she wants it.
Would you say that it's the biggest upset in UFC history, or perhaps not?
We're being invaded or something?
It's been like this all night.
What's going on here? I'm deaf as it is. What's the question again?
Would you say that it's the biggest upset in UFC history?
Fuck, I don't know. That's a really good question, actually. It's up there with Sarah and GSP. It's up there.
Dana, down to your right, if you could. Dana, down to your right. I was curious, when you're watching the second round of Pena and Nunes, and they're in a firefight, and Nunes has never lost a firefight like that. What's going through your head? Are you saying that this is a bad idea for Nunes to be in this? Well, what is going through your head?
When they were doing it, I said she looks like she's getting tired. I thought Amanda looked like she was getting tired, and I haven't talked to her yet either.
And were you surprised by not only the victory, but just how Julianna won? Because I think most people thought if Julianna was going to win, it would have been with her wrestling. That's her bread and butter. She outstruck Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, I think that. They were in the pocket there, and they were both throwing. She was definitely landing more, but Julianna's face was getting busted up too. Julianna was taking some punches too. But it doesn't matter how strong you are, how big you are, how hard you hit. At the end of the day, in a 5-round fight, it comes down to who's in better shape. And you know Julianna trained her ass off for this fight. Did Amanda.
Thanks, Dana.
Hey, Dana, question for you. With Amanda Nunes losing tonight, does this result change your opinions if you ever want to see a trilogy fight with Valentina Shevchenko?
I wasn't loving that thing anyway going into this fight. So that was never really in my plans.
Lastly, I heard that Michael Chiesa got in some sort of scuffle. Is there any truth to that during that fight?
No. He did not get in a fight. I say this without embarrassing this guy. He had a little bit too much to drink this evening. When she won, he freaked out and tried to jump into the octagon and fell down on his face, cut his eye and busted his eye open, then was arguing with the police that he needed to get into the octagon and be with her because that's his teammate. They dragged him out, got him outside, and we calmed him down in the back, and I went back and talked to him for a minute, and we're all good. Good?
Dana, down here to your right.
Yeah, go ahead.
How would you assess 2021? Because obviously you've had to navigate through the whole COVID situation and whatever. How would you assess 2021 in general?
It was the best year we've ever had. It was the best year we've ever had. We smashed. I mean, we smashed the pay-per-view record. 8 for 8 sellouts. All those shows that had fans. We broke the all-time pay-per-view record this year for most pay-per-view buys, and tonight we smashed it. I mean, we didn't just break the record; we smashed the record tonight. Incredible fights this year. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It was an awesome year, incredible year.
And if you could pick a highlight of the year, what would it be?
My highlight for the year. That's a tough one. I don't know. Right here, right now, I don't know the answer to that. There were so many things that happened. Good stuff. All good stuff this year. No real negativity, no bad shit. We kicked 2020's ass, and then we rolled right into 2021 and did the same. You know? And yeah, it's been awesome. Cool. You guys done with me? Thanks for everything this year, you guys. I appreciate it. I hope you guys all have a happy holiday.
I know it's still fresh, frustrating, but I guess can you talk about just the emotion that you're feeling at this point?
It sucks, man. You know, worked hard to get back here to fight for another world title and got choked out again. I'm just heartbroken, really.
Yeah, understood. I know you had a lot of respect for him coming in, and you knew the skills that he had. But in there, did his aggression, anything surprise you?
His durability. He wasn't crazy strong. I knew his jiu-jitsu was the best, some of the best. I mean, most submissions in UFC history coming into this fight. That's kind of the reason I didn't go crazy trying to sweep and get up that second round, because I figured, like I said, leading into this, I'd rather lose the round than give my back and lose the fight trying to scramble back up. But he ended up getting to my back regardless of that. You know, guy's good, man. He's the champ.
Yeah. It's round 3, obviously, you got your back very quickly, I guess. Just surprised at how quick? Or
yeah, he kind of, I mean, I knew he was going to start trying to creep around with the body lock. I wanted to keep a whizzer, but he got around me. I felt like at first he was really high, and I thought he was going to slide off. And then he kind of sunk in and really got his position. And he started kind of a neck crank. I pulled his hands down once, and it's just his forearm slipped under my chin. And once he tucked it, there wasn't a hand for me to grab to really pull it down. It's just, you know, you same thing with Khabib. You know, it's such a small room for error in these kind of fights. I felt good, you know, after the first round, sitting on my stool, going into the second, I drinking water and thinking I'm going to be the world champion tonight. You know, it's just such a crazy thing what we do.
I know how much it's meant to you, but I mean, have you seen the fan support that you have? I mean, you've become one of the most beloved fighters in the sport. You put together a heck of a body of work. I mean, as you sit there at night, I know you're disappointed, but can you be satisfied with where you stand in the sport?
Like I've been saying all week, nothing this whole journey was done in vain. Everything me and my family have is because of fighting. A lot of education in my life is through these kind of moments, learning about myself, and it just sucks, man. I really worked hard and sacrificed a lot and put myself in the position I thought that I was going to be the world champion. And I knew I was going to either come out here tonight and be the world champion or fail daring greatly. And sometimes, you know, this is what happens.
Last thing for me, I know family time is probably what's most important to you now, but do you start letting yourself ponder about the future? I mean, is this just like, let's just keep chasing this 155, or does this open the door? You know, you've always talked about maybe a little welterweight. Does this say, well, maybe now's the time to do that? What do you think the plan is at this point?
I think there's fights at 55 and welterweight still for me. I just don't even want to think about who or what's next. It's been a crazy year for me, 3 big fights. I just go home with my family. I'm healthy. They're healthy. Like I said, man, I'm not a stranger to this kind of position. You know, nobody wants to be used to losing, but I'm just used of learning, and it is what it is. That's the fight game, you know. Try not to sit up here at another press conference and cry in front of you guys, but I'm gonna continue to do what I do. Be a father, try to be a beacon of light, keep grinding.
Dustin,
can you comment on the body shots? Did Charles wear you down a little bit? You know, you were landing some good strikes in the first round. He seemed to be going to your body a lot. Was that impacting you at all?
He landed one good knee to the right side of my body, but nothing like really that hurt me or took anything out of me.
And then last question for me. You know, you made a lot of money this year. You sold a lot of pay-per-views. Do you consider it a good year given the wins over Conor, the money you made, or does losing tonight ruin the year?
It ruins the dream outcome that I had planned to forever be a world champion after tonight. But whether I was on, you know, no, nothing. The year isn't ruined. It's just an opportunity I had. Opportunity I had is ruined, and it's all right. You know, that's what it is. I'll look in the mirror like a man.
Dustin, immediately after the fight, you showed us your great character again by offering Charles a donation to a charity of his choice. Was that something that you had planned on doing, win or lose, to say to him, or can you just tell us your mindset to do that moments after the result?
Yeah, I saw a video this week of him showing where he grew up and where his mom cooked dinner for him. I don't know if I think it was an old video. Saw some of the sights of where he grew up and just how little they had. And it came to me this week. I thought I was going to let him know, win, lose, or draw, talk to him after and let him know that me and the Good Fight Foundation would donate $20,000 to his city in Brazil and put the money to wherever they think it needs to be. Obviously, he knows he's a good guy and he knows where the money will go the furthest. So that's what we're going to do. And like I said, man, continue to try to do good. And that's it. Be a better person every day.
Appreciate it.
Dustin, right here. Right here. Obviously, right before your fight, your teammate Amanda Nunes suffers historic upset. I know you were obviously busy in the back. You're getting ready to go, but did that have any effect? Did you have any of that emotion as you were walking out for your own match?
No. I was upset for her while I was warming up. I saw that she lost, but I've been doing this a long time, and I knew it was her losing had nothing to do with what was about to happen with me. I can separate these things.
Thank you.
Just a quick one. Joe Rogan was making a lot. It looks like he had hooked your glove when you were trying to pull your arm away. It looked like Charles maybe kind of hooked into the glove to pull back, which would have been a legal move.
Whenever I did the front roll,
like right before
second round.
Yeah, when you tried to pull it.
Mike
out.
Brown was asking me when we got back to the locker room why I didn't just slide my arm out. I don't know. I don't remember the finger in the gloves, but I was trying to pull my arm out and it felt like it was in there good. But Mike did ask me in the locker room after, why didn't I just pull my arm out? I tried. But I don't know if his fingers were in my glove or not. I didn't feel it, but
it doesn't. This is obviously not the first time you've been in this position before, right? But does the fact that you've been in this before and then been able to get back here say that you can do it again, right? You've done this before, you can do it again.
I can do anything I put my mind to. I can fight for another belt. I can go on another streak. I can claw and climb and get back to wherever I want to be. It's just, do I want to? That's the question I have to look in the mirror and answer. Do I want to do it again? Do I want to go down that road again? And that answer will come in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks. Just need to let this pass and see what's next for me. But if it's in my heart and that's what I want to do, I'll be here again fighting for another world title.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Julianna, I know it might be difficult to put into words maybe at this moment, but what is the emotion like for you right now?
I'm very, very happy. Very happy.
I know you've never been short on confidence, right? But I mean, today, getting ready, walking to the cage, I mean, What was the feeling like? Was it still supreme confidence, or were there little moments of doubt, like, oh man, all this thing that I've been working for, it's finally here?
You know, I've been in this camp for so long, and it's been a tough road to get here. I've been calling for this fight since UFC 200. So for it to finally be here, that's over 5 years in the making. I'm just glad that, you know, it's over and done with. Number one. Number two, I was cool. I was calm. I was collected. I was cool as a cucumber, and I definitely think that made for a easy second fight camp, easy fight week, and a easy walkout.
Yeah. Obviously, round one probably didn't go exactly as you drew it up. So I'm just curious kind of what's going through your head as round one's playing out, and I guess what the discussion was on the stool in between rounds.
I mean, I wasn't deterred by any means in round one. I don't know if you've seen some of my past fights. Sometimes it takes me a little bit to get, you know, shooken up and woken up a little bit in order for me to get going and to make those adjustments going into round two. I feel like round two, round three, I'm just warming up. So for me, that was, I was not deterred by any means. In fact, I had her in an arm lock, I think, for a good portion of that first round. And the adjustments from my coach was just like, keep being you. You're doing great. Just keep going out there and just do exactly what you just did. So it was great.
So round two, you start having success, but you take the damage to your eye. Obviously, that's kind of causing issues. But at some point, it looked like you just said, we're throwing down, right? Which I don't think any of us thought was the way you were going to win this fight, right? So what's going through your head as you said, yeah, you know what, I'll just stand and we'll just start throwing bombs at each other?
Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks that I am just only versed on the ground or that I'm just a ground person, but in mixed martial arts, you have to be versed everywhere. And I'm confident on the feet, I'm confident in the clinch, and I'm confident on the ground. Wherever the fight goes, I'm comfortable. It's not that I have one specific specialty. I like to go wherever the fight takes me, and I just kind of let the fight take place however it does naturally.
Nice. And you got to the back. Did you know the choke was there? I mean, was it difficult to work in, or did you know, like, oh, I've got it right now?
I saw her leaking from her nose a little bit, and I put the choke on, but I wasn't sure. I didn't realize that she tapped. I remember when I took her down, I thought, man, I wish somebody could tell me how much time I have left in the round, because I didn't know how much time was left. And then after that, the ref picked me up and they threw me in the corner, and I think it was either the commissioner or the ref, and I said, what happened? He said, it's over. You're done. It's congratulations. I was like, oh, gee, I didn't even know.
So is that when the moment the elation sets in, I guess? That's only when you know?
Yeah, you know, Amanda's been such a great champion, and she's done a ton for the sport. So for me to be able to take out, you know, arguably the greatest of all time, was something and is something that is still sinking in right now.
Nice. Last thing I'll ask. I mean, I think you said going in, like a rematch. You know, Dana was here and said if she wants the rematch, but we've got to see what she wants. I mean, do you believe a rematch should be next? Do you want it to be next? And if so, I mean, how soon do you want to fight? How much time do you want to take to enjoy this?
I mean, we could do it next week. I'm free next month. You know, 2 months from now, whenever they want to do it, I'm ready. No, in all fairness, you know, I've been in camp for a year. I really think that my daughter deserves some deserved mommy time, a little vacation. After that, definitely, if she wants to do a rematch, we can do a rematch. And, you know, I've always been a company girl. I've always been whatever they usually, you know, point me in the direction and I'll go there. You point, I shoot. So whatever they want to do, we'll talk about that later. I just want to enjoy the moment right now.
Julianna, congratulations. I saw you dancing when Amanda's walkout music was playing. You were dancing. You were that relaxed that you could dance before the fight. Do you normally do that kind of thing?
I love music. Music is 1,000% in my blood. It's something that I love and I enjoy quite a bit. So to know, actually, I was expecting her to walk out to a song that I asked Heidi Dean to play for me one time. And she was like, we can't play that song. That's the champ song. I said, no, that's my song. So when tonight, I was expecting her to walk out to my song and I was going to be singing that song the whole time, but it ended up being a different song. And I was like, oh, well, this is a great beat to shake it to. And so that's what I did. And yeah, I was definitely cool, calm, and collected. I heard the commentator say she looks nervous. I was like, what are you talking about? I was dancing.
Yeah, no, I saw that. You know, the question, like I said to Dana even before the fight, I was asking him about your confidence. And I said, if she said, hey, Amanda has this weakness or that weakness as a fighter, you could see it. But like you're saying, she's ducking you. And she had fought the Cyborg and everybody else, all the best of the best of the best. So can you explain like what you saw that made you think she was ducking you given all the terrific fighters she fought?
Sure. I would love to tell you guys the story. At UFC 200, when the T-Mobile Arena very first opened up, me and Kat were the first girls on the card, and I beat Kat. When Amanda fought Misha, I sat cage side and I said, I want that fight. When she became champion, she came here and sat before you guys, and you guys asked her, who's next? And she said, I think Julianna Pena. And I'm like, that's great. That's my fight. I want that fight. I called for it at the cage. So I'm expecting to fight Amanda. Well, Ronda Rousey just got knocked out by Holly Holm, and she got to cut the line. And instead of Amanda fighting me, she took a fight with Ronda. And I'm like, that's not fair. But, it's MMA. So she took the fight with Ronda. Somewhere along the line, I got pregnant. I came back from pregnancy. I beat former world champion Nico Montano, and I called for that fight and against the champ. And it didn't end up happening. Then I fought Jermaine Durandiman, and her camp was over there in Abu Dhabi saying she is watching very closely. She does not want to fight you. This is the rumor that I'm hearing, and it's from her camp. And so I'm like, I know she doesn't want to fight me. So when I lost to Jermaine Durandiman, she tweeted out, you haven't even made yourself worthy for me, And I'm like, man, I had that fight. It was a bad night for me. I turned around, I stayed active, and I got that win against Sarah McMahon. Now, in between beating Sarah McMahon and taking this fight with Amanda, I was offered the Ultimate Fighter to coach alongside Amanda Nunes. And I said, yes, absolutely, I will do that. Well, we got to wait for Amanda. We're waiting for her to do all this. She has a farm. She's going to go back to Brazil to tend to her farm. And we don't know if she's going to do it yet. So I'm like, okay, she's not going to Brazil. I can see her wife is having a fight against Amanda or Mackenzie Dern. She is not in Brazil. It's not like she's going to go take her baby by herself to Brazil. And so then she said, no, I'm not going to do the Ultimate Fighter. And I'm like, of course you're not. So later on, we have the fight scheduled for August, and she pulled out. Now, back in, I think, May, she said she had COVID, and it was reported Amanda Nunes has COVID. So now coming August, she has COVID again, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not trying to downplay the COVID thing, but it was just weird timing. And not only that, once again, I hear from a rumor from somebody in their camp. They say she hasn't even been training. She hasn't even showed up at the gym this entire time. So I remember I ran into Dan Lambert over in Houston, and I said, I know that she hasn't been training. Somebody in your team says she hasn't even been training. He said, no, she has been training. She's been training. And so that next Sunday, that was a Saturday, Sunday morning, I see Amanda posting that she's in the gym and now she's training for the fight. And now we're here in December, and she made it. And honestly, no disrespect, but the whole time I'm thinking something is going to happen and she's not going to make it. Something's going to happen. She's going to, because she pulled out with Valentina, I think the night of the fight, and she pulled out with me the week of the fight. So I was like, yes, I'm going to show up in December, but if Amanda does show up or not, that's going to be the question. And that's the only thing that I was, worried about.
Let me just ask you one final question, and maybe a little bit crazy, but she has 2 belts, right? So now if there is a rematch, you're a big girl, and Kayla Harrison's also around. That would be a big money fight if you beat Amanda at 45. Would you consider, under any circumstances, fighting her the second time at 45 so that maybe you would be a champ?
I think that there's some rematches that I want to do. I would like to go down and rematch Valentina Shevchenko. I would love to get that rematch against Jermaine Durandiman. I would love a rematch if that's what she wants against Amanda Nunes. Those are the rematches that I have in my peripheral. And with that being said, right now I just kind of want to soak it all in and enjoy this moment of becoming the champion tonight. Thank you.
Julianna, right here.
Hi.
Congratulations, champ.
Thanks, Sean.
So just looking back from the beginning to this, 2014, you blow out every ligament basically in your knee, and then you have the break in 2018, and just this whole journey, all the ups and downs. Can you put into words really what this means at this point to have shown so many people, proved all the doubters wrongs, and just really get to this moment?
For me, I got nothing to prove. I got nothing to prove. Everybody was sleeping on me, and I shook up the world, and I did what I said that I was going to do. But at the end of the day, I'm not surprised. I know that I have a big, huge will and determination. And I've been saying it all week long. The world is your oyster. You can literally do anything that you want in this life. You have the ability to do anything that you want in this life. I've been through the wash. I have literally been through the wash. I have done it all. I'm talking torn everything that you can possibly think of, ran over by cars, hit by dudes in the alleys. I've done it all. Nothing was going to stop me from getting this belt. This has been 13 years grinding, and it's finally come to fruition, and it's my time.
Did you feel like she underestimated you, that she was taking you lightly this whole week?
I mean, she's said many times that I couldn't make myself worthy as a champion for her. When I was trying to answer my question at the press conference and she cut me off and she was talking about, my best friend and look what I did to her. And, she was just saying all sorts of stuff. And so, I mean, I'm not surprised. I was ready for everything. And I just really want to thank my team and my family. And I wouldn't be here without them.
Last one from me. I mean, the full circle nature of this. Obviously, Misha was your mentor in the beginning. Amanda took the belt from Misha, kept it this whole entire time, and now you take it from Amanda. That circle of that. I mean, what does that seem like to you?
It just seems like it was my time. There were so many signs leading up to this moment. There were so many times in my life, not only signs, but dreams of myself and dreams of others. And I'm really weirdly into that kind of stuff, a spiritual thing. I have a very strong faith in God, and that is something that kept me strong mentally, physically, and emotionally to get to this point, especially having to go through another fight camp. And I just really think that, it's a surreal moment, but it's absolutely my time. And I'm not surprised. I'm really not.
Congrats.
Julianna,
Thank you.
in the middle over here. Dana was telling us the story about what happened with Michael Chiesa. Just curious if you saw him come try to celebrate with you.
Yes. Mike and me started within 1 week of each other in the gym. And we have been grinding with Rick in Spokane, Washington since we were babes. Literally, I was 19 years old. I started within 1 week of Mike Chiesa. And we've been grinding for 13 years together. So this is a big moment for me. It's also a big moment for Mike. And I know he was very emotional. I can't speak on anything else that happened. I'm not sure, I was uber focused on what I needed to do, but I love Michael. He knows I love him. I know he loves me. And this win is just as big for him as it is for me.
And you mentioned your love for music. I'm curious what inspired the choice of Psycho by Puddle of Mud.
So I think I've talked to you guys about this a few times. And I hate to bring it up. I used to be superstitious. I'm not superstitious anymore. But one time I walked out to the same song twice and I lost the second time. So I was like, I can't walk out to the same song twice. So I used to have Dana pick my songs, but then I knew that it was like such a task, So then I just started letting Heidi pick my songs. I said, I don't want to know what the song is. I absolutely don't want to know anything. Just whatever you choose is what you choose. So literally I've pretty much walked out to a different song every single time. It's been completely random at the hands of the UFC.
All right. Congrats, champ.
Thank you.
Champ here in the back.
Hi.
So when you were in that intense firefight in the second round and, the ties going back and forth, you're connecting against her, she's connecting against you. Can you in any way verbalize what's going through your mind in such an intense situation?
No, it's just, you're on the horse. Don't get pucked off the horse. We could do this all day. I was comfortable. I was ready. I could see the change in her face. And then I could see my corner. And I'm like, all right, we're doing this. So I was very comfortable.
And previously, when we were talking to Dana White, he retold the story about when he first met you, when he went up to him and said, I'm going to be fighting for you and I'm going to become a world champion. Could you sort of retell a little bit of that from your perspective and how sort of reality matched what you were thinking back then as a young fighter?
Yeah, so it was about 2013. Dana had recently allowed women to fight inside the UFC and that they were going to have their very first Ultimate Fighter house. So I came down early to help actually Misha get ready to train for Kat Zingano. And there were the tryouts for the Ultimate Fighter. And I heard rumor that he was going to be at Syndicate Gym. So I took a taxi, I went to Syndicate and I saw him in the corner and I walked right up to him and I said, my name is Julianna Pena and I'm going to win the Ultimate Fighter. And he was like, all right. And so, yeah, when I won the Ultimate Fighter, that was great. That's how the first encounter that I ever had with Dana. And, I've been telling him too. I literally tell him all the time, I want that fight. I want that fight. Give me that fight. And I think maybe subconsciously he was just trying to protect me. Like, no, you don't want that fight. He's trying to be like, trust me, you don't want that fight. But I've been gunning for it this entire time. And he finally gave me the opportunity that I've been asking for. And I'm just internally grateful for him giving me that chance. He gave me my shot and I'm so happy for that.
And last one for me, then. Obviously, you're a Venezuelan vixen. Have you gotten any chance to have you heard any word from like your fans in Venezuela and what this means to them?
No, I haven't. I haven't even picked up my phone. I pretty much put my phone in dead zone for like the last week. So I don't even know where my phone's at. But I can tell you that, my dad is here. He's from Venezuela. He's from Machiques. I got family in Maracaibo. I got family in Caracas and the Isla de Merida. And I'm also Mexican. My mom is from New Mexico. She's also Native American. So I'm a mixture of all sorts of warrior blood. And I know that my Venezuelan family is extremely proud and happy for me. Venezuela has been going through a tumultuous time in their government. And if I can give any sort of hope or inspiration, motivation to any of those to stay strong, that's what I would like to do. And if I could be that representative for them, then, that's an honor. And I wear that very pridefully and humbly.
I'm sure you can. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Julianna, just one more for you right here. You mentioned the Ultimate Fighter a few times today. You're one of the elite members of the group now who've won a UFC belt and that show. Would you be interested if you guys do a rematch to now coach that in this scenario ahead of a potential second fight with Amanda, coach the reality show?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I would love to coach the Ultimate Fighter. It's always been a dream of mine. And I would love for her to coach alongside me. I got nothing but love and respect for Amanda. I think that she's been a great champion. And coaching the Ultimate Fighter would be another dream come true for me.
And actually, just one more. When you hopped on the cage after winning the belt, you kind of had like a primal moment there where you're screaming out. What was going through your head and your body at that moment?
Well, I've been doing this for 13 years and I've never jumped on the cage before, ever. I've never even got on the cage before. So they were like, get on the cage. It's like, oh, okay, this is my time to get on the cage. And when I got up there, I was like, oh, this is kind of scary. But I was just happy. And, in that moment is when it hit me that, you did it. So I was just elated, literally elated. One of the greatest moments of my life.
Just went over here. This is the first time in UFC history that two moms actually fought for a championship. Do you feel like the promotion needs to create a new belt for you, the baddest mom on the planet?
That is such a great point. The UFC absolutely needs to create a new belt for me. It needs to be the baddest mom on the planet. And, I'm not trying to take away anything from Amanda. She's a wonderful mother, but I gave birth to my daughter. And I know that, I feel like for giving birth, I am the first mom champ. And that to me is also a little feather in the cap.
Julianna, one in the back. Wanted to ask what it means to you to be taking this belt back to Chicago to be the first world champion under your coaches there.
Man, that's amazing. And I said it a long time ago. I'm taking this belt back to the lake and I want to dedicate this to all of my team and all of my training partners. I literally have the best team in the world, and to bring it back to the lake and to bring it back to Chi-Town is such a pride for me. It's an honor, and I'm so excited. I also can't wait to take it back to 509, where my roots are from. 509, loyal to the soil. Washington State is where I'm from, and I'll be back there soon as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julianna down here. Obviously, Amanda held belts in two different weight classes. Would you like to have a rematch at featherweight, or would you like the rematch at bantamweight? Do you have a preference, or?
We can rematch at 135 pounds if she wants to do that. But whatever the company decides, it would be great to obviously be a two division champion. Even to go down to 125 and face Valentina down there would be great too. Right now, though, I just want to soak in the moment of becoming the champion tonight and just relish in that for a little while.
But you're saying that you'll do whatever the company want to do, but now you've got some pulling power. You're a champ. You can flex those champ muscles. Why don't you do that?
I'm sorry. I can't hear you. And can you ask your question again? I'm so sorry.
I was saying that you've got some pulling power now that you're a champion. You're saying that you'll do whatever the company wants to do. So why don't you just do what Julianna Pena wants to do?
That's true. That's very true. Thank you for that. The UFC, I'll do what I want to do. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm willing to work. I'm easy to work with. Whatever makes sense. If it don't make money, it don't make sense. And, if it's something that is, good to me and great for me, then of course I'm going to do it.
John, just one more quick one for you.
Yes, sir.
When Michael Bisping beat Luke Rockhold, everyone talked about this was this huge upset, and he was like offended by it, being like, I knew I was going to win this fight. It's not an upset in my mind. When people are talking about this now being like one of the biggest upsets in UFC history, does that warm your heart, or does that feel like an insulting thing to you because they're maybe downgrading your skills to a degree?
I definitely think that people have been sleeping on me, and they have not been putting any respect on my name. They haven't been giving me as much credit as I feel like I deserve. You know, whenever the commentators talk about, you know, Amanda Nunes, they'll say everybody else's name but mine. And I mean, they can't even spell my name right. They don't ever put the tilde over the N, you know? So there's little things where I'm like, man, can I get some respect? But with that being said, I wasn't surprised. My coach's eye, Rick Little, is very good. And he told me a long time ago in 2013, not 2013, when I beat Kat Zingano at UFC 200, you can beat her. And then I sat cage side when she fought Jermaine Durandeman, and I was like, yo, coach, I can beat her. And so for me, I'm not surprised. For everybody else that was sleeping, wake up, and I'm here.
Charles, congratulations. Your first title defense, but also a fight in which you got tested and got to prove your heart. So I'm just curious just how satisfied you are with the result tonight.
Charles, parabéns pela tua primeira defesa de título e também uma luta na qual você foi testado. E eu gostaria de saber como é que você se sente depois de uma luta como essa.
Olha, eu tô aqui pra fazer história. Eu tô aqui pra mostrar para pessoas que eu posso. Fala você, o que você achou da luta hoje?
Listen, I'm here to make history. I'm here to prove to people that I can. You tell me what you thought about the fight tonight.
Pretty amazing. You had a lot of respect for Dustin coming in, and it was a tough struggle early on. What was your mindset as the fight was starting out?
Uma luta incrível. Você teve muito respeito pelo Dustin e foi um início bem duro. Como é que foi para você assim que a luta desenrolou?
Ele me respeitou, eu também respeitei ele. Né? São dois grandes lutando. A luta tem muitos estudos. Mas graças a Deus meu braço foi levantado. Foi como eu falei, eu nem ia deixar ir para a mão do juiz.
We respect each other a lot. I mean, I respect him. It was a lot of study early on, but then, as I said, I was going to have my arm raised, and that's what happened.
Nice. In the second round, when you were able to get to the dominant position and really do damage there, were you surprised that he was so willing to stay on his back there?
No segundo round, quando você entrou na posição de dominância ali e que você colocou ele na posição que você queria, você ficou surpreso que ele ficou ali e deixou você fazer o que estava acontecendo?
Eu acho que, na realidade, o joelho veio fazendo a diferença, né? O joelho veio magoando, né? Foi isso que meio que pediu, veio magoando. Então, eu acho que quando eu botei ele para baixo ali, ele já estava um pouco cansado também da joelhada. E todo mundo sabe, ninguém quer fazer jiu-jitsu comigo, então eles vão ficar agarrando. Ele ficou agarrando e eu trabalhando nas cotoveladas o tempo inteiro.
I think that the knee actually did a damage, and that was a kind of product of just the knee kept hurting him, and by the time he got down on the ground, he knows no one wants to do jiu-jitsu to me on the ground, so what you have is basically grab me.
Yeah. Obviously, round 3, you come out very aggressive and get to the back immediately. I mean, at that point, did you think I'm going to be able to finish this fight quickly?
Obviamente, terceiro round muito agressivo, já foi ele por trás, já montou ele, e nessa hora ficou claro para você que é isso que ia acontecer, eu vou finalizar isso aqui, vou continuar com o meu título?
Eu não deixo passar, né? Eu falo meu jiu-jitsu de oportunidade, apareceu, eu vou pegar. Eu cheguei ali, eu queria pegar, eu queria vencer.
I don't let opportunities get away. I always say that I have opportunity jiu-jitsu, so I take advantage of the opportunity. When I saw I couldn't pass it up, and I had to do it.
During this successful run, you have this kind of fire and confidence that maybe you didn't have early in your career. I'm just curious kind of where you turned the corner, like what changed that now you have this confidence that you have now?
Durante esse último momento na carreira, o momento mais recente, você está com fogo, você está com uma confiança que você não mostrava antes. Ele quer saber em que momento que mudou, que as coisas você acha que mudaram, que você ficou com esse fogo e essa confiança.
Olha, a gente vem de 10 vitórias seguidas. A minha filha nasceu, eu mudei a chave, eu queria ser campeão, eu quero me manter campeão, eu quero construir um legado, sabe? Eu tô vivo, eu quero mostrar que eu tô vivo. As pessoas falam que eu não posso, eu mostro que eu posso.
10 straight wins. My daughter was born, I can kind of turn the key. And I changed, and I just changed for the better, and it's a legacy. I want to make history, I want to build a legacy, I want to show people that I can.
Awesome. Last thing for me. It looks like Justin Gaethje will be next. I'm curious if it's going to be kind of a personal fight for you. You seem to get a little bit angry when his comments were brought up earlier this week.
Parece que a próxima luta vai ser contra o Justin Gaethje e você parece também ficar um pouco bravo com os comentários que apareceram aí ao longo dessa semana que ele falou.
Olha, de verdade, eu não ligo para o que os outros falam. Eu venho aqui e faço. Eu não fico falando, eu não fico na internet, não fico no Facebook e no Twitter falando o que os outros acham, o que eles deixam de achar. Eu venho aqui e faço. Eu sou o campeão. Eu provei mais uma vez que sou campeão. Não importa quem é o próximo. Eu vou estar aqui pronto.
Listen, I don't care. I come here and I do it. I'm not on the internet. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook trying to show people what's going on. I'm here. I'm the champion. I have this belt. I'm going to keep defending it. I don't care what people say. I'm going to do me.
Congrats, champ. It's not often that the champion goes into a title fight and is the underdog. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk over the last several months about Dustin Poirier being this uncrowned champion. I just wonder, did you feel disrespected coming into this fight?
Parabéns, campeão. Não é muito comum que um campeão entre numa defesa de título como azarão em bolsa de apostas. E como é que você sente essa essa coisa de dele ser um campeão não coroado, e como é que você se sentiu em relação a isso?
É como eu falei, eu não ligo porque as pessoas acham, deixa de achar. Eu vou e faço acontecer, né? Quase todas as vezes que eu entrei aqui, eu entrei como um cara que não merecia, como um cara que não era o campeão, e eu mostro. O que eles falam agora, que eu não aguento tomar porrada, olha tudo que eu venho fazendo. Eles falam que eu desisto, olha tudo que eu venho fazendo. O que eles vão procurar saber agora, fazer?
I don't care. I don't care what people think. I don't care what they say. I mean, look at what they've been saying about me. So they say, I can't take hits. Look at what I've been doing. They say, I quit. Look at what I've been doing. So I'm just going to continue to do what I do.
You even mentioned it right there. They say I can't take hits, that type of thing. The way these last two fights have gone, where you are overcoming the adversity and then you come out the champion, is that you take extra pleasure almost in being able to win these fights these ways and disprove all of these things.
Isso que você mencionou, de aguentar e levar porrada e dar a volta por cima, que você não desistiu e que você continuou e que você deu essa volta por cima, você sente que tem um prazer adicional pelo fato de ter passado por essa adversidade e ter vencido esse desafio e ganho dessa maneira?
Com certeza, olha só, a nossa equipe é Chutebox Diego Lima, né? Todos os dias é uma guerra. Todos os dias. Todos os dias eu tomo um monte de pedrada na cabeça, sabe? E continuo andando pra frente, querendo mais, querendo mais, querendo mais. Isso aqui é um prazer gigantesco, vir aqui lutar, mostrar que a gente pode tomar porrada, andar pra frente, vencer no final.
Listen, my team is Chutebox Diego Lima. It's a war every day. I take hits, I take stones in my head all the time, and I still standing. So it's a pleasure to actually be here and be able to do this and do what we do for all you to see just continue on.
Congratulations.
Parabéns, campeão.
Charles, right here. When the fight ended, Dustin came up to you and he said he wanted to donate $20,000 to a charity of your choice in Brazil. Can you just tell us your thoughts on that and what that meant to you for him to say that right after the fight?
Assim que a luta terminou, o Dustin foi para você e falou de uma doação de $20 mil para a caridade da sua escolha, para a instituição da sua escolha. Eu gostaria de saber o que você pensou desse momento e o que isso significou de receber essa...
Olha, né, eu falei para ele ali, né, que ele faz a mesma coisa que eu, né, mas faz um trabalho social, então isso é muito importante para a gente, lutadores que estão ali, poder fazer esse trabalho social, e fiquei muito feliz com essa doação dele, né, eu falei que iria fazer algo diferente dessa vez no Guarujá e com certeza a gente vai fazer.
Very happy because he does what I do. We have a lot of social work. We work a lot in the community. So I've said all along that I wanted to have a different kind of Christmas. So not just my community, but all the communities of Guarujá, a beach outside of São Paulo. I want to make sure that they have a different Christmas this year.
Charles, just a quick one. Did a fan steal your glasses when you were leaving the octagon?
Uma perguntinha. Fã roubou o seu óculos quando você estava saindo?
Ele roubou, ele queria pegar meu óculos, queria usar.
Yeah, he stole it. He wanted to take it and he didn't wear it.
Did you get him back?
Você recuperou os óculos?
Pegamos, a gente pegou. Na hora de segurança do UFC pegaram e tomaram dele de volta.
We got it back. The security guys from the UFC took it back.
Just one more for you, Charles. As far as the fight with Justin Gaethje, we saw how he struggled on the ground against Khabib. Do you feel like if you get him there, that's going to be a very big advantage for you in that potential matchup?
Só mais uma pergunta dele. Sobre uma luta com o Justin Gaethje, você sabe como ele foi difícil para ele no chão com o Khabib? Você acha que é isso que aconteceria? Você teria que colocar ele pro chão e essa é a chave para ganhar dele?
Olha, acho que luta é luta, né? Lutas são lutas. A gente treina todos os dias para poder melhorar, evoluir, né? Então, vamos pensar, vamos ver o que a gente vai fazer. Como eu falei, eu não me preocupo com quem eu vou lutar, o que eu tenho que fazer. Eu tenho uma equipe gigantesca para montar uma estratégia e a gente deixar ele fazer acontecer.
Listen, it's what I've always said. Is like a fight is a fight. I'm gonna do what I do, and we're gonna plan around whoever the opponent is, and we're gonna do what's needed, and we're gonna just continue to train and make it happen.
Charles, down here to your right. I asked you earlier during the week that if you believed in the old adage that you weren't a champion until you defended your belt. You said that you didn't agree with that, and all your previous achievements attested to the fact that you were a champion. Now that you've registered your first title defense, has that changed? Do you feel like more of the undisputed lightweight champion?
Ele falou durante a semana, numa outra entrevista que a gente fez, que existe aquele ditado que diz que um campeão só é um campeão realmente quando ele defende o título. Hoje, com o título defendido, com o cinturão ainda seu, você sente que isso mudou a tua percepção pelo fato de você ter defendido o teu título, ou qual que é a tua percepção em relação a isso?
Não, foi como eu falei, né? Eu se tornei campeão quando eu ganhei do Michael Chandler. E eu fiz por isso. Eu fiz por ódio. Hoje eu só vim aqui e defendi aquilo que é meu. Então, eu creio que, pô, como eu falei, eu fui campeão em maio, quando eu ganhei o cinturão, e agora eu só vim defender aquilo que é meu.
No, stand by what I said. I won when I became a champion when I won the belt, and all I did was to come here and defend it, and I just basically defended what's mine and kept it.
Thank you.
Aqui, campeão. Khabib tweeted before a fight that he was rooting for Dustin Poirier, but then afterwards he congratulated you and sort of gave you your props. Will that always be kind of a fight that got away, the one that got away, that you never got to test yourself against him?
O Khabib, antes da luta, ele falou que estava torcendo pro Dustin, mas aí depois da luta ele realmente deu os louros da vitória e te aplaudiu pelo que aconteceu. A luta com o Khabib é aquela que escapou, que acaba sendo aquilo que faltou, que não vai acontecer?
Olha, de verdade, né? Como eu falei, eu não ligo muito o que as pessoas pensam. O Khabib foi um grande campeão, teve uma grande história, mas o campeão tem nome agora, se chama Charles Oliveira, né? Ele se aposentou, agora a gente está construindo o nosso legado. Não tem essa de, não, tinha que ser o Khabib, não. Agora é o novo legado, se chama Charles Oliveira, esse é o novo campeão.
I said that I really don't care what people think. He was a great fighter, great champion. He had his history and his legacy, but he retired, and now history and legacy have a new name, and it's Charles Oliveira. And that's from now on, that's going to happen. There's not this thing of like, oh, it didn't happen, the one that got away. It's what we could do.
Great answer. And Dustin Poirier was here earlier, obviously kind of crushed that, he's tried twice now, not managing to capture a title. You guys have a lot of respect for each other, obviously. Do you have any kind of a message for Dustin Poirier going forward?
O Dustin Poirier estava aqui antes e, obviamente, derrotado, um pouco arrasado pelo fato que é a segunda chance que ele teve para ter isso e não conseguiu chegar lá. Você tem alguma mensagem para ele, para o Dustin, seguindo adiante no futuro?
Cara, deixa o grande campeão, né? Um cara que tem uma trajetória gigantesca, um cara humilde, do bem. A gente tem que ter fé, acreditar. O campeão é aquele que perde, levanta a cabeça e dá a volta por cima. Eu fiz isso diversas vezes. Ele também pode fazer.
Man, he's a great champion. He's a great fighter. He has humble beginnings, just like myself. And it's like you have to continue to believe. And when you get down, a champion is someone who gets down and gets back up again. And that's what he needs to do and continue on and pushing forward.
All right, and last one for me. Speaking of, championship mindset, I'm sure it would mean a lot to you to be able to defend your title in Brazil, but with the way that the world is, it seems a little bit uncertain. Where do you stand about it? How important would it be for you to be able to do that? And if it doesn't happen, are you all right with that?
Última pergunta dele. Obviamente seria muito bom continuar defendendo esse título no Brasil. Uma luta lá, para todo mundo ver, mas da maneira como o mundo está sendo e com as coisas que estão acontecendo, isso acaba ficando um pouco de frustração até. Você acha que, puxa, gostaria que fosse no Brasil, mas infelizmente não vai poder acontecer?
Olha, com certeza, se ele defender meu cinturão no Brasil, isso é uma coisa que vai acontecer. Né? As coisas não são no nosso tempo, são no tempo de Deus. Eu tô pronto para lutar em qualquer lugar do mundo. Né? Então, mas com certeza seria um prazerzaço gigantesco defender meu cinturão no Brasil. Quem sabe? Pode acontecer. O ano tá mudando, as coisas estão acontecendo.
Surely that's something that's actually going to happen. But we understand that it's not our time, it's God's time, and that's how we work. And the world is changing, things are getting better, and hopefully that's going to happen, and it's going to be amazing to defend the title in Brazil.
Obrigado.
Charles right here. Charles, about this time last year, it looked like the lightweight picture, there wasn't a really spot for you. We weren't sure who your opponent was going to be, what would happen with the belt. And now people are saying, one of the best runs by any lightweight in UFC history. Can you put into words what it's like to just have had this entire 12-month stretch?
Charles, ao longo de ano atrás, parecia na divisão de peso leve, parecia que as coisas que não haviam lugar para você, que quem seria o oponente, com quem estava o cinturão, e de repente tudo aconteceu e agora estão falando uma das melhores sessões de vitórias e trajetórias de um campeão no UFC. Como é que você coloca isso em perspectiva para todo mundo esse ano que passou? Há um ano e como as coisas estão?
O homem lá de cima. A minha fé é do tamanho de um grão de mostarda. Eu segurei ela e não soltei. Eu acreditei. Sabe? Eu acreditei que eu poderia ser campeão. Que eu poderia fazer história. Que eu poderia mostrar para as pessoas que da onde que eu vim, aonde que eu tô, aonde eu quero chegar. E o homem lá de cima pegou e me ajudou nisso. Ele acreditou na minha história.
The man upstairs. My faith is the size of a grain of mustard, but it's just strong, and I did not let go throughout this whole thing. And then God kept saying, "This is you deserve this. You're gonna get a chance," and you continue to make history and make legacy. And as it turns out, that's what happened.
What made the difference in keeping that faith? Because I'm sure at times, whether it was losses or anything else in life, it was at times difficult. What made the difference that you kept believing even when it was hard?
O que fez a diferença de você manter essa fé? Porque existem momentos que a gente tem os nossos baixos, tem derrotas, tem reveses, e mesmo assim você manteve a sua fé. O que fez a diferença para você manter a fé nesses momentos, gente?
Se você tem fé, não importa o momento que você tá. Eu costumo falar que a vida é igual uma roda gigante. Você tem que saber aproveitar o momento que tá lá em cima para quando você chegar na parte de baixo, você sobreviver, porque você vai subir de novo. Então minha fé não importa se eu tô lá em cima ou se eu tô lá embaixo. Ela é do mesmo jeito. Sabe? Você tem que acreditar 100% nisso. Se você tem fé, irmão, você vai mover montanhas. Você faz coisas que ninguém acredita. Se você contar, as pessoas falam mentira. Isso é fé.
You have to keep your faith regardless of the moment. The moment doesn't matter. Your faith does. And I always like to say that the world's like a fair, life is like a Ferris wheel. So you're going to be up on top. And remember that when you go all the way down, to go up, back up again. Because it's going to happen. Continue pushing forward, continue doing things, and it's going to happen for you. And your faith needs to stay put as it is, as strong as it can be.
Thank you, Charles. Congratulations.
Okay.